Quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video."
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today?
So, Ms. Bondi, will you commit right here to immediately providing those 2 documents in unredacted form to members of Congress? Not a complicated question.
Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, what a dumpster fire these oversight committee hearings have been. If you've been watching the DHS oversight committee hearings, I mean, you've heard a lot of insane comments, a lot of hypocrisy, and a lot of deflection, which was done so poorly that I'll be surprised if something doesn't have to change over there. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be Bondi herself that's going to change, or the department's stance on a specific issue, or they're going to give up some sacrificial lamb, something, because it was truly terrible. So if you are a liberal or a Democrat listening to this and listening to my clips, you're going to learn how to pick apart Republicans' BS, because I'm going to call it out. And if you're a Republican, you're going to see how the Democrats keep getting y'all tripped up constantly, and how the BS on your side, which does exist, that if you cleared that up, you would get all the support you could ever want from the average citizen. Because believe it or not, the average person, most people actually are conservative. Which brings me back to this committee hearings, because it was terrible. So I had to call it out, because even though I'm a biased black conservative, I ain't no hypocrite. And I only have one set of standards, which is why this is equal heat. Because when we see the BS start peeking its little head up, coming around the corner, we see the BS start coming around that corner. Well, yeah, we call it out equally, regardless of which side it's coming from. And it's a little bit of both right now. So let's get into this. I broke this into 3 different parts. So this is going to be part 1 of the Bondi oversight hearings, because it was a mess. All right, let's go.
The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors...
And Steve Bannon in them. Jesus Christ, man. Could you imagine that being your boss? Imagine how that damn performance review would go. I mean, they're looking forward to some damn torture videos. These guys are just diabolical.
...were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. To the survivors...
Hold on a second. They've been hold on to this for decades? Why are we talking about this in 2026 if they've had it for decades? A decade is 10 years. So decades means that there's more than one of those. There's at least 2 sets of 10 years. So we've been hanging on to this story and this issue for decades. Jesus Christ. I mean, hey, I'm gonna have, trust me, I'm gonna have a lot of criticism of Trump and definitely of Bondi and everybody who's been handling it for the past few years. But if this has been going on for decades, You have to be honest. Everyone has to be honest with themselves. Everybody over there, all these people in this picture, all of them, and all the presidents who've been around in the past 20 years, they all have blood on their hands for this. All of them. But I digress. Let's go.
Survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
I already don't believe her. I don't know if you guys caught that. I don't believe her at all, only because of how she worded it. She didn't say how many people haven't spoken to the Department of Justice. She said this Department of Justice. Now remember, just a second ago, she said decades. So this has been going on for decades, known to them, investigations happening for decades. But now she's limiting who they were able to speak to this DOJ, right? So that's kind of weird to phrase it specifically like that. So I'm already, my spidey senses is already getting raised up here. I think the BS is coming, you guys.
General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely
what kind of
unacceptable
nonsense is that?
release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman,
Come on now.
you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Uh-oh.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi,
No, can I finish my
Ask you a
answer?
question,
No,
start
I'm
bringing
going to
up somebody
reclaim
else.
my time because I asked you.
It's just so crazy. Hey, listen, I hate that. I know that they both do it. Right now, it just happens to be somebody on the Republican side or supposedly conservative. That's still debatable. But come on, if somebody asks you about what you're going to do, you can refute it. You can say, screw you, it's not on me. But you can't be pointing to other people. Let's be honest. If we're all being honest, we know none of these politicians say yes, say no, and answer direct questions. But that's why everybody voted for Trump the very first time around. We all agreed that we were tired of these politicians and their BS. Now, though, we've got our own person up there, and she's sounding like one of these yahoos. Let's go.
The Attorney General,
A specific question
Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to your
like
question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the
Jesus
questions, the
Christ.
witness get to answer in the way they want to answer.
Has anyone apologized to
Attorney
them
General,
for
that's
this
not
taking 20
accurate,
years
Mr.
for anything
Chairman.
to
Because she
even get
doesn't
done?
like the
My
answer.
time.
So,
No.
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she ask
question.
Merrick Garland this?
I am
twice
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in my
time, and
chair?
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the
my...
gentlelady's
I'm
reclaimed
I'm
her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you
Chairman.
restore her time? The witness
I'm
is
not gonna get
interrupting.
in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing
and
theatrics.
let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up, and I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a...
This is just crazy, guys. I mean, you'd have to agree. If this has been going on for 20 years, okay, yes, Bondi should be apologizing. Hey, there's 10 million different documents, photos, videos. I mean, 10 million is a lot, and AI is not going to catch everything. If you think for 1 second that they've got 10,000 people who read through 10 million documents, 3 million documents, you're fooling yourself. They had AI try to help them to sift through all this stuff and do redactions through automation. But automation and AI is not perfect, and everyone knows that. I'm not surprised they didn't say that, but no one wants to give up that they didn't do this by hand. But at any rate, there are some mistakes made. I just would have just said, yeah, there were some mistakes made. However, why haven't they gotten an apology that they haven't gotten this justice that they're seeking for? And this has been going on for decades. Jesus Christ, what an easy thing to say back. Make the apology and then move on and ask them about their own apology. Because I bet a lot of these people in Congress, they've been in there for 20 years. They've been here this whole ride. They knew about this and they didn't do nothing about these people. And they know who's on that list because it's their buddies on both sides.
Human level,
Chairman,
apologizing
Chair now
to them
recognizes the chair.
on what you
Unprofessional.
have done.
Time of the
I
gentlelady's
yield
expired.
back.
The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back.
Theatric.
We appreciate the thought.
He said he appreciates
and I would
the
argue
damn
the
thought.
central issue in the last election, the presidential election, was securing the border. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General Bondi, I think you and pretty much everybody else here and throughout the country believes that convicted sex offenders don't deserve special treatment or privileges in prison. And yet Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, received perk after perk in prison.
Perk after perk.
In July, she had a 2-day interview with your deputy and President Trump's former defense attorney, Todd Blanche. Just days after that, Maxwell was transferred from a federal correctional institution in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas, which she, as a sex offender, would normally be ineligible for. At this new facility, as the ranking member talked about, and by the way, it's nicknamed Club Fed, we've heard reports that she's been afforded special privileges, puppy time, private workouts,
time.
personal
What
mail,
the hell is that?
secretarial service.
What the hell is puppy time, y'all? Did I hear that right? Oh, I mean, somebody looked that up. And can you please clarify it? Are they giving people puppies that they can spend puppy time with so they can feel better while they're in prison for some heinous act that they did on the public? Jesus Christ, tell me that's not true.
Attorney General Bondi, does
Wait. And did she say
secretarial services.
secretarial services? What kind of prisoner needs a secretary? What the hell is this all about? Hey, I need a damn secretary.
Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
let me
Thank God, a straight answer. Ooh, just started with the be straight with this. No. I love that part.
keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I
and
asked you yes or no.
she was
and
not
I'm reclaiming my
transferred to a
time.
lower
Mr. Chairman,
level.
please stop the
Okay.
clock and remind the witness of the
Time.
rules. One rule
And
she needs to
I'm
understand
glad
here.
that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things. But
we
I
move
want you
on.
to know that every time she does get these perks, and it's been publicly reported,
I'm pissed about
that
secretary
her-
and puppy time, though. I'll be honest.
the folks she's abused, the survivors who are sitting here, they see themselves as being denied justice.
They need to send
They
her to a
feel
maximum security
re-traumatized.
place,
And I'm
somewhere she has to
glad
worry about
that
her
we
safety.
agree on that. But she should not be in that prison. And she needs to be moved back to a maximum security prison as soon as possible. But what she has told another committee here is that she won't cooperate with them unless she gets clemency from Donald Trump. It's just crazy to
Now, see, this is the bullshit with Donald Trump. Now, if you want to put your finger on somebody until they break, like we wanted to do with the people in Venezuela, or how we're leaning on Greenland, or how we're leaning on all these other people that we're leaning on, lean on this woman. If this woman is truly guilty of sex trafficking children, for crying out loud, we need to put her in a maximum prison, somewhere where she's afraid for her damn safety. And she's not sitting there saying, I'm not going to say anything unless I get clemency. No, you're going to be talking to us, or you're going to be afraid to go in the yard. You're going to be afraid to come out of your cell. You're going to be afraid of your cellmate. We're going to put you in a place that you are so terrified for your safety. You're going to be begging to give us the information so we can put you into Club Fed. What are we talking about negotiating someone's clemency? You're not going to be getting out. The only question now is what kind of experience are you going to have while you're in there for the rest of your life? That's the only thing we're negotiating. But I digress.
consider that she can be wielding this kind of influence within the administration. But that begs the question, who ordered her to be transferred to the minimum security prison that she was ineligible for? Who signed off on the special privileges? Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but you know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska,
I have a couple
who
of
died
other
on a
questions.
subway.
Right, and I absolutely...
You don't talk about that.
Zarutska. Jesus Christ. We're talking about people who've been trafficking and you want to switch to a whole different topic. Yes, somebody else who passed away in this person's district or their state, but this has nothing to do with Epstein. This is that BS. See, this is that BS I'm talking about. This is where we're going down the typical traditional politician route, and we don't have time for this. This is why Trump was elected in the very first place, because he wasn't a politician. He shot it straight. He told us how it is. He gave the answer whether we liked it or not. Having someone talk to you about Epstein and you change the entire topic to some other person under different circumstances in an entirely different case, unrelated to what we're here to talk about, that's that bullshit. Anyway, let's keep going though. Let's keep going.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues, but we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is. So of course we're moving back to you. It is all about you.
Yeah, what's wrong with these people?
As we've heard, she took the fifth in response to every single question in that committee hearing, and her lawyer dangled the offer of clemency. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute her sentence? Should she be released from prison, yes or no?
Hell no.
You said you hope she dies there, so I'm hoping the answer is no.
I already answered that question.
Good. I'm very glad. I really like this bipartisan agreement about
Well, when
what
it
should
agrees
happen.
with you, but you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You don't want to talk
I
about
talk about her
murdered
all
by
the
a
time,
violent crime
but I
offender
am not
in
here
your
to
jurisdiction.
testify before Congress. You are. That is your job today.
You are
That's what you're getting paid for.
obsessed with attacking.
So I want you to know that your own DOJ employee, he's recently been demoted and had some other problems, advises on pardons. Do you think he will be advising Mr. Trump on any kind of clemency or pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
Please say no.
I'm not going to speculate, and you couldn't even identify properly. That's why you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska.
No.
You couldn't
I
properly identify.
Oh my God, is this like, why does she have such a hard on for this person that she just keeps bringing up over and over and over again? We're talking about the horse's head and you're talking about the horse's ass. No, I'm sorry. You're just being an ass. Stick on topic, please. We know that the Democrats and these hardcore liberals do not do the same, but the whole point is to not be them. That's the whole point. Anyway, let's go.
Her relative.
I absolutely
It's embarrassing.
have been, and her family, by the way, appreciates all of the condolences, all of the help, everything that our law enforcement in North Carolina has been doing to help her family. Her family feels well treated. Thank you, and I yield back.
Ms. Lady yields back. I want to show you just a brief video. It's about 30 seconds, and I'll ask you a couple questions about it.
Hey, you guys are disgusting. I'm former law enforcement. You're disgusting. You are the Nazi. You are the Gestapo. You can't see it because you're chasing your pension, right? Your pension, your retirement, right? That's what runs your life, your retirement. The sad thing is they're not even going to get their pension because it's going to be worthless. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on
Attorney General Bondi, that man works for you now, right?
Who was that, Congressman?
The man in that video, the one who was in the police-worn body cam footage, the one allegedly yelling "kill him" at police officers on January 6th.
Oh, Jesus.
His name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department of
he does.
Justice.
He does.
Dan,
This is an individual
do that, Jared.
whom a federal grand jury indicted
And why'd
for
you
2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors related to his participation
felonies?
in the attack on January 6th. One of those charges was forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police with the intent to commit another felony. This is who you choose as the chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling "kill him" at police officers, right?
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling "kill him" at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You could imagine the reaction of so many folks across the country hearing the chief law enforcement officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired did. But in any event, let's talk a little
I
bit
think
about...
that's pretty crazy. I mean, can you? I really can't believe that. That is insane. Listen, we're on YouTube. We can see video after video of people getting busted for shoplifting in Target, and even the times where they don't prosecute them, they trespass them, and they ban them for 2 years, for life. All different types of time frames because they don't want them in there. They've already proven that they don't have the right attitude. So if this guy was just a regular protester, that's one thing. But if he's really, I didn't hear him say it, but he said it and she didn't dispute it. So I'm going to assume that everybody in that room agrees he did say kill him. You may pardon somebody like that because they got caught up in the moment. But the fact that they said kill him, I mean, that should be a disqualifier for you to actually then be hired to work there. How is it that somebody could be protesting, go as far as to promote bodily harm or serious injury on law enforcement on camera, and everyone agrees that that's what happened, and then they get hired? I can understand the pardon because, like I said, he got caught up. Hiring someone that just gets caught up, that's also not someone that you want on your police force, because what happens when you hire them? They're on your police force, they get into a situation, and then again, they get caught up in their emotions, and now they're doing some bullshit. There's enough good people out there that want to be in law enforcement where there's enough of them to hire versus us going out and recruiting and hiring people that we had to pardon for their bad behavior. Anyway, let's go.
Some of the other divisions within the Department of Justice and what's happened over the last year. You're familiar with the Public Integrity section of the DOJ's Criminal Division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General,
Because I don't like.
Mr. Chairman, will you explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question to your satisfaction.
Mr. Chairman.
Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado.
The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the Criminal Division today?
Can I answer the question about PIN?
I've asked you a question. How many
You've
people
asked me a
work?
question, but you don't
How
want
many
the
people
answer.
work
I'm not
for the
gonna answer your
National
questions the way you
Cryptocurrency
want.
Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many
I'll
people?
answer PIN.
You.
PIN will not be
You know what?
weaponized.
You know what?
What's
Madam
funny
Attorney
about
General,
this?
I'll say to the chairman.
What's funny about
Chairman,
this?
you know what the answer is? And I think I
What's
understand why
funny
the
about
Attorney General
this?
does not want to answer the question. Because you eliminated the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team last year. So I understand why you don't want to tell the American people who works there.
Yeah, I
no one
understand
works.
why.
Tell me it's not true. Tell me that's not true. I'm going to assume it's true because she didn't refute it. How are we going to be the crypto capital world if the very first thing that they do is to disband the Crypto Enforcement Task Force? Now, if you want to replace some of the players on that team, that's one thing. But to get rid of the team itself altogether, that's a different, and it's a huge red flag. And if you really want some red flags as it relates to Donald Trump, I'm going to give you a link to a video at the end of this because, listen, this right here is a huge red flag, and it explains a lot of issues that are going on. We're supposed to be the crypto capital of the world right now. We're not the crypto capital world right now because of a few factors, all of them linked to Trump. And I'm saying this as a conservative. So if I was going to BS you, I would just not even talk about this like Pam Bondi is doing right now. And most Republicans, they will run from this. And this is one of those things, you liberals and Democrats, that you need to hone in on if you want to have a logical conversation with somebody and you can prove to them that, you know what, Trump, whatever you may think of him, some great things, you know what? He has some huge red flags, and no one's going to be able to dispute it. Most of the time what happens with you Democrats is that you just say, oh, he's an asshole, oh, he's a PDF, he's this, he's that, and you're not giving any facts. You're just giving allegations, you're giving your opinions, you're giving what you feel or what somebody else felt. This right here is something that's not disputable, and it's a huge red flag. There's some huge issues, and I shared that in a video just last week, and I will link it at the end of this video for those who really want to have some ammunition when they're talking about Trump on what they can point out to prove that this guy has his issues. And I'm not sure if he's really drained the swamp or he became the swamp, but that video will prove it to you. As far as Republicans, I'm sorry, I'm a conservative. I'm not a Republican. So I'm going to call it down the middle. That's why this is equal heat. But if you want to know where to hold Trump accountable, then you can watch that video too and hold his ass accountable. That's your guy. So anyway, let's go on.
You don't want to talk about Mohammed Solomon in your district.
In any event,
who murdered people.
Mr. Chairman, will you stop the clock so his time is not wasted by
I've
the
been
witness?
very generous with allowing extra time when we have these little disputes.
I understand.
You got the time, Mr. Goose.
I might as well ask the chairman these questions.
I'd be happy
because
to answer
what
some of your questions.
What's profound, the questions I've
Profound?
asked,
The crime in
questions
your
I've
district.
asked, Mr. Chairman, are not trick questions. They're not gotcha questions. They're actually basic questions about how the Department of Justice functions and the unwillingness of this Attorney General to answer them in good faith. When a member of Congress asks how many people work at the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team and the Attorney General refuses to answer it, it is not a coincidence. It's because she eliminated the team. Why? Because her boss, the President of the United States, is making money hand over fist, $1.4 billion over the course of the last year through cryptocurrency holdings.
Now, like I said, don't
I
just
think
take
what
that
is
talking
happening at
point
the
and run
Department
with
of
it.
Justice
Watch my
is a
video so you can be
disgrace,
very
Mr.
specific
Chairman.
when you're
And
talking to people
would urge
about
you
this
to
conflict
gain
of interest.
control of this
Watch
hearing.
my video.
With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Yeah. I would ask the gentleman, does he agree with the standing up of the Deputy Attorney General for dealing with fraud? That's something that's happened in this administration, first time. You talked about Penn. That happened with this Justice Department.
We're talking about this committee.
Mr. Chairman, had you answered the question, had the Attorney General answered the question in that way, perhaps this hearing would have some modicum of resembling something that has typically been fairly conventional, an oversight hearing of the Department of Justice.
The gentleman's
That is
time
not
has
this.
expired. The gentlelady from Wyoming, New York, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, I went over to the department yesterday for a couple of hours to review some of the unredacted materials. And I am looking forward to your
She's
detailed
definitely
explanation
reflecting
for
all
why
through
you
this
have withheld
so far.
almost half of the documents, which is required by the bill. Now, obviously, there are 3 million documents, so I didn't get through much. But one thing I didn't see was the client list that you said you had on your desk a year ago.
Uh-oh.
I did, however, find a couple
I was
of
waiting for
important
that, too.
documents. An 86-page prosecution memo from the Southern District of New York and a draft indictment from Florida against Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators. For reasons that I cannot understand nor are permitted by the bill, they were still redacted, even for members of Congress. So, Ms. Bondi, will you commit right here to immediately providing those two documents in unredacted form to members of Congress? Not a complicated question.
Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged.
Man, I hate a
Okay.
slug attitude.
They're
Jesus.
not privileged, but we will discuss that later.
I really don't like
I
people
also
with those kind of
found
smug
an
attitudes.
email that I have right here from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell that was unredacted. And it included notes of statements that Donald Trump made about his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege, there is no attorney-client privilege, and I see you're checking with your staff, and I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You're about as good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in
Another
2016.
deflection.
Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So will you
Apologize for
unredact
that?
this? Will you
You were
unredact
lead
this?
counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
Deflection,
of course.
and then some smug
I
response.
look forward to discussing this more. Now, these are obviously improper redactions.
And let me
to
stop for a
protect-
minute.
I'm
No.
talking. I'm
If they're
talking.
not privileged,
Quiet.
don't yell at me. If they're not
Mr. Chairman, would you stop
privileged,
the
Even
clock?
though
This
you
is on your
use-
time. It's not on Mr.
If they're
Gomez.
not
Even though you
privileged,
used your
if we review them
improper
and they're not-
redactions
You'll like my answer.
to
If we
continue
review
to
them and they're not
protect
privileged,
Donald
Time belongs to
we
the
will
member.
be happy to release them.
We'll
after
stop the
review.
clock. We'll stop the clock. Time belongs to the member. Go ahead.
Even though you used improper redactions to protect Donald Trump and other predators associated with Jeffrey Epstein, you did the exact opposite thing with the survivors and victims of this scheme. So their identification information was really the only thing required to be redacted, and it was not. And it's clear this was not a mistake. This was not by accident. This was not because you only had 30 days when you really used 75, and that doesn't even include all the hours last March that you were redacting it. But I'll tell you why it's clear it wasn't a mistake. There is an email entitled Epstein Victim List. There are 32 names. One is redacted. 31 are not. So someone looked at it and decided to redact something. And I will tell you
Like I was saying, it's probably
that
AI.
that is clearly intentional to intimidate these survivors and victims.
Some automation did it.
Now, in an interview last week,
How will you tell me that's intentional?
in an interview last week,
She's not gonna
Deputy
say
Attorney
automation did it,
General
it was
Todd
some
Blanche
automation.
Can't go off
process.
script.
said that any victim that wants to speak with the department has done so, hopefully. Well, thanks to the incredibly brave people sitting here behind you, we can actually ask them if that's true. Now, would the survivors and victims who are here please stand up one more time? Just by show of hands, how many of you or your loved ones actually have met with the Department of Justice and provided testimony and estimate and evidence? None. And of those of you who have not met, which is everyone, how many of you have reached out either individually or through a lawyer or representative to offer to provide testimony and evidence? All of them. And of those of you, all of you who have reached out, how many of you were denied or ignored by the Department of Justice? All of them. And despite the shameful and despicable efforts by Ms. Bondi and her department to intimidate you, how many of you are still willing to speak to the Department of Justice? All of them. Well, Ms. Bondi, it looks like you have some more witnesses
Gentleman's
to
time has
talk
expired.
to. And I yield back.
That's
We will go
damning.
to the good gentleman from
That's
North Carolina,
damning. He did a great
Congressman
job
Knott.
of just
May I have a
putting
moment,
smack
Congressman?
down on her.
Yes, ma'am.
Jeez.
Thank you.
You know, the bottom line is they got to meet with these people.
Here
They
we
gotta
go.
let
Here's
them
the
get whatever they
photograph.
need to get
This
on the
is
record.
why he wanted to repeat
Oh,
everything that
God.
had been said previously on Epstein. This is his state, New York. You probably don't even know who this is.
Girl, you
Wahid
need to know who it is. That's why
Mohammed
you
from
read the name off the
Afghanistan.
back.
That's because I'm no longer a
Convicted-
prosecutor.
Convicted
Jesus
of
Christ.
assault.
Another deflection.
Wow, he represents New York. Wow. Yet he
Deflection.
doesn't care about the illegal
Smug attitude.
aliens convicted of crimes. Assault
on
and
task.
homicide. No longer a prosecutor,
It's not
so
like
he
she's
doesn't
bringing-
care about his
it'd be one thing if she's
constituents.
bringing up
Here we
Epstein
go.
victims' pictures
Arson.
who weren't
El
included or
Salvador.
something for
Miguel
some reason.
Palacios.
But we're talking about completely different topics.
Furman Flores Ramales.
They can do
Mexico.
better.
Rape.
Let's talk about the 70% of immigrants who are detained without a criminal conviction or arrest.
Stop the clock.
I
Stop the
think
clock.
that's
Time
a
belongs to
fake.
Congressman Knott.
It's expired.
Wow. So you can see right there the trouble that we're in. These people just aren't serious people. And it happens on both sides. Right now, it just happens to be Pam Bondi, and she really isn't representing Republicans, but she was put in place by Republicans. So by that fact alone, she's going to be associated with Republicans. It's just her at this time. Last time it was Comey, and he was a shit show, even worse. But in this case, we're talking about victims that are underage, and this has to do with SA type crimes, and we just have to do better. If we can't get on the same page with this, we're screwed. And the real reason why they're not letting that list out, we all know, is because there's too many powerful people on that list, in those pictures, in those documents, in those depositions, in those statements. It's not just people on the right that's in those pictures. There are people on the left. There are people with no party. There's so many influential people on those lists and in those documents that it would tear all of them down. But at some point we need to say, if you did it, you got to go to jail. If you did it, you got to pay the price. It is what it is. If you feel I was fair and I called out both sides equally, hit the like for the video. That will help you beat anybody in a conversation with Trump being corrupt or potentially corrupt. These red flags that are not disputable. You'll see that video. You should be seeing that video now as well. Go ahead and click on that. But hit the like, hit the subscribe, and look out for part 2 of this, because we have some more explosive comments by Pam Bondi and the congressional people that are going after her. So look out for part 2. Thanks for listening, and remember, always give them equal heat.